Go inside the Crimson Tide with your hosts Rodney Orr and Gary Harris, keeping you informed on everything Alabama. And now, Tider Insider TV.
The foundation of integrity is utmost importance for us at Alabama, here at University of Georgia. Sorry.
Well, you can't blame him. I mean, he's been at Alabama for 9 years now, even though he went to the University of Georgia. I bet he slips up another time or two.
Well, he didn't have Georgia on his mind.
He had Bama on his mind. Well, he is still coaching at both places.
Yeah.
How about that? Alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com, I'm Gary Harris, WVUA 23 Sports Director. This is Tider Insider TV, the program brought to you, as always, by Buffalo Rock Bottling Company. Great bottlers of Pepsi-Cola products like Diet Pepsi. There's the sound. I like listening to it, but it's even sweeter when it's going down. Can't beat it. Pick up some Pepsi products the next time you're at your local grocery store. Well, Rodney, it's official. Alabama has made it into the college football playoff for the second straight year, the only team to do so. The committee released the latest rankings on Sunday. No surprise that undefeated Clemson sits in the number 1 spot. Alabama in at number 2. Michigan State jumps to number 3 from number 5 after beating Iowa. Oklahoma is at number 4. They dropped down a spot, so the Tide is set to face Sparty in the Cotton Bowl on New Year's Eve in Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium in one of the college football semifinals. Oklahoma and Clemson in the Orange Bowl that afternoon in the other. Well, Rodney, Alabama had to earn its spot into that college football Final Four, and they did that by winning the 4th SEC championship under Nick Saban since 2009. And it wasn't easy. Florida's defense is top-notch, but Alabama's defense is even better. And with Florida struggling at quarterback with Treon Harris, the Gators had to work for everything they got. They did get a punt return to take a 7-2 lead, but that was their only lead. Alabama winds up winning 29-15 in a game that really wasn't as close as the score might indicate.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, Gary, obviously Alabama dominated totally. You're talking about over 400 yards of offense to 180. I mean, Florida only had 15 yards rushing, so Alabama defensively dominated the game. And Florida is an outstanding defense too, but they really, Gary, couldn't hold on in terms of, you know, their offense not being productive. I mean, it made it really difficult.
Indeed. And, you know, here's an interesting stat, Rod. Florida had 83 yards after the first quarter. Offense, not bad.
Yeah.
You know, got in position to kick a field goal. Alabama blocked it, hit that one long pass play. Early in the fourth quarter, they had 82 yards of offense. Yep. Now, they wound up with 180, but most of that came on that one drive after Alabama went up 29-7. But for 2.5 quarters, they had -1 total yards of offense. Unbelievable.
I tell you, though, with that said, I was very impressed with the Florida defense, extremely impressed. We talked all along about how they're one of the top defenses in the country. I thought they lived up to that. They're the only defense in the country ranked in the top 10 in 6 different categories. They're very athletic, very fast, very physical. They've got a really good defense front. And I say all that to say this. I don't think there's a better defense Alabama's faced all year, nor do I think Alabama will face a better defense in the playoffs. So I think this was outstanding preparation as we move forward.
You know, we're going to talk a lot about Derrick Henry. Jen Chapman's about to have a story on him. We're going to talk about his Heisman chances. But this game epitomized the kind of running back he's become. Every yard was earned. You're right. They are fast and ferocious on defense. They arrive with angry intentions. They hit him, even forced a fumble, but he totes it 44 times for 189 yards. And again in the fourth quarter, when Alabama had to have it, he's a first down machine.
Yeah, he was, and I think the offensive line did a nice job too, and Derrick ran extremely hard, and you know, a lot of big plays too in the passing game. There you see our Darius Stewart going up, making the play on a Jake Coker pass. Earlier, you saw the Calvin Ridley play, so Alabama made enough plays in the passing game. Here, this might be Coker's best throw of the year right here to Mulaney. So, I mean, they did an outstanding job all around offensively.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that, because I know when you have a back like Henry, you have a run powerful offensive line, you don't want to get carried away. But it seems to me when you play these good defenses that when Alabama throws the ball down the field, they make some plays.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, the thing about it is the big plays that were made in the game, even Florida's big play, they're almost like jump ball opportunities sometimes when you put the ball up, give guys opportunities to go up and make plays, and that's what these receivers are doing. And I really think that's an area where you're talking about Alabama's improved. I think when you look at our Darius Stewart and his emergence over the last half of the season, probably since the Tennessee game, I think, you know, obviously Calvin Ridley's been fantastic. So I think Alabama offensively, the receivers are really starting to develop.
Final note on this game. You were on my radio show on Monday on Tide 99.1, and I ask you about the SEC championship, and I know they're a bigger fish to fry. I know everybody wants to win a national championship, but to win 3 of the last four SEC titles, become the first team since Tennessee in '97 and '98 to win back-to-back SEC championships, this is a noteworthy accomplishment, and it doesn't need to be dismissed. It's a big deal.
And a lot of people said it couldn't be done. I mean, the way Alabama, as you mentioned, over the last 4 years, 3 of the last 4 dominating the conference, I think it's a fantastic, as you mentioned, I think it's something that, some people start looking towards that national championship, but let's not forget, it is certainly an honor.
25 of them. Tennessee second with 13. Keep that in mind. Well, Derrick Henry is the best running back in the country. He leads the nation in rushing yards with 1,986 and rushing touchdowns with 23. Simply put, King Henry is having one of the best seasons in SEC history for a running back and is the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy on Saturday night in New York City. TITV's Jen Chapman has more on the big man from Yulee, Florida.
5, Derrick Henry, who has scored a touchdown in 17 games in a row, gets the handoff, goes forward, he is in, touchdown, his 18th game in a row.
That guy just has no level of pain, he just keeps running, no matter how tired he is.
A glowing endorsement from Alabama center Ryan Kelly on his now Heisman finalist teammate, Derrick Henry. Shattering the Alabama rushing records this season, Henry looks to be only the second Heisman winner in the storied Alabama program. The last running back to win the prestigious award was the Tide's sole recipient, Mark Ingram.
A lot of great players that came through here, and Mark won it, who was a great player here and did a lot of things for this program. And I just want to do the same, but it'd be very special to bring it back here in Alabama.
Henry leads the nation in rushing touchdowns with 23 and rushing yards just shy of 2,000, eclipsing legendary Herschel Walker's SEC record for a single season.
It's a dream of mine since I was a little kid, and it's just a blessing to be in this opportunity, to have this opportunity to go to New York for this prestigious award. And like I said, I couldn't do it without my teammates and coaches and God, so I'm just thankful for everything.
A dominating presence with a humble demeanor, never forgetting to thank those who block for him.
It feels a little good because, we don't always get our name in the paper, but no, a lot of the times, too, we don't do our job perfectly, and Derrick makes us look good. So I think it goes kind of both ways, but that's just the kind of person he is, very unselfish person, and you just couldn't say enough about the guy.
And it's no coincidence that Alabama has the #1 rushing defense in the country as well.
He comes in with the right mindset every day. He's a great leader. He doesn't take no plays off, and guys on the team take notice of that. Even I take notice of that. And when he gets going, it makes me want to keep going and get the guys on the defense side to keep going.
Going against each other, going to get them good all the time has helped us to, play against a bigger back, a big, strong, physical back like him. And just go against the D-line that's that big and strong and physical as well. Just help everybody.
So in Roll Tide land this week, it's Henry for Heisman. Jen Chapman for Tider Insider.
Thank you, Jen. He's pretty good.
He is.
Still to come on Tider Insider Television, the Heisman finalists have been named. Derrick Henry is one of the 3 that will head to New York City. We'll show you and talk about who he's up against. And also, later on in the program, we'll be taking your phone calls, your emails, and tweets. Call us at 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Email us at TITV@WVUA23.com, or you can reach us on Twitter using the hashtag TITV. We're back with the only show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide, Tider Insider Television. We'll return right after this. Alabama center Ryan Kelly, number 70, has been selected as a finalist for the Remington Trophy, which is awarded to the nation's most outstanding center. He has 34 career starts and has allowed no sacks with only 4 quarterback hurries this season. He becomes the first player in Alabama history to be named a Remington finalist, along with Barry Jones, William Vallejos, and Antoine Caldwell. Well, Derrick Henry, along with Stanford running back Christian McCaffrey and Clemson quarterback Deshaun Watson, will all head to New York City this weekend, hoping to bring home the most coveted trophy in college football, the Heisman Trophy. Rodney, let's talk about these Heisman candidates. Derrick Henry, in our mind, is the favorite, but Christian McCaffrey and Deshaun Watson have also had outstanding seasons.
Oh, no question about it. Matt McCaffrey had a huge game the other night, over 460 all-purpose total yards, and I think when you look at him, he is certainly a very, very outstanding candidate, and Deshaun Watson as well. He's done a fantastic job as a sophomore, leading Clemson to the #1 spot in the country and in the playoffs. But Gary, I think it's really going to be difficult for Derrick Henry not to win the Heisman.
I do too, because I know there are some people as we watch video from the three candidates. I know there are some people who are trying to bash the SEC and say it's not what it used to be, but the fact of the matter is it's still going to have more players drafted than any other conference. He is broken records of two of the greatest backs, not just in the SEC, but in college football history, in Herschel Walker and Bo Jackson. He's going to have over 2,000 yards this season. He's got 1,986 right now going into the semifinals of the college football playoff. With that resume, I just don't see how you cannot give it to him.
Absolutely, and he's really carried Alabama offensively. And that doesn't mean there hadn't been other contributions, not what I'm saying, but certainly he's had to really, you look at the LSU game, he had 30-plus carries. He had over 30 carries against Texas A&M. He had over 40 the last two games, so certainly he has been the bell cow of the offense, and he's produced. Over
200 yards in 4 games, 90 carries the last 2 games. All right, Rodney, Kirby Smart held a press conference yesterday to officially announce he'll be going to the University of Georgia as its new head coach. Smart says that he had chances to leave before, but felt like that going to a smaller school wouldn't give him the experience that he needed. He thought staying at Alabama with all those facilities and all those resources would better prepare him for a big job like Georgia.
I think the growth you get from working at a place like Alabama and with a program under Nick Saban, it helps me immensely. A lot of people always said, why not go take a smaller school head job? I honestly feel like my growth was better by being at a large program, being around Coach Saban, and learning how to manage a lot of the tough situations you deal with in the media. So for me, the most difficult thing for me is the timing of this and trying to move forward and grow and get the recruiting going. But as far as the challenges that they present, it's there for every head coach in the country. It's no different for anybody. Hit the ground running, put your nose to the grindstone, and deal with one issue at a time. And that's what we plan to do here as a staff.
And Kirby working on recruiting for the University of Georgia this week, but he'll return for bowl prep for Alabama next week. Rodney, I don't think this is going to be an issue at all. I think he'll be able to wear both hats and doing them well. Yeah, Gary, it's been done in the past. Certainly Jim McElwain did it for Alabama when he took the Colorado State job, and I agree with you. Yeah, as Nick Saban has a plan in place, and so does Kirby Smart. Well, it's time to take some phone calls, folks. Get that phone in your hand and go ahead and punch those buttons or dial them. I don't guess we dial them anymore, but whatever you need to do to get through to us at 205-348-9882, go ahead and do so. We're going to take some phone calls, answer some emails when we come back to Tider Insider TV. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback A.J. McCarron, former Crimson Tide standout, and his wife Catherine are expecting a baby boy after 4 months of keeping it secret. Catherine took to social media today to announce the news and tell everybody they are so excited. Congratulations to the McCarrons. Time to take some phone calls. First, want to mention, though, the Coaches All-SEC team announced today for the 8th straight year, Alabama more selections than any other team, 10 total, including 6 on the first team. That's pretty impressive. Indeed. 7, in fact, on the first team. How many defensive linemen? Allen and Robinson both made it. Jaron Reed probably should have made it, too. Here. All right, let's go to the phone lines. And Keisha here in Tuscaloosa is first up tonight. Hi, Keisha. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are y'all?
Very well, thank you.
Okay, I would like to say congratulations to Derrick Henry on the Heisman Trophy. I'd like to congratulate the football team on their SEC win. I have 2 questions.
Okay.
I have seen that Chris Black is maybe leaving the university. Is this true?
He is transferring, Keisha. He's graduated. He'll go somewhere else for his final year of eligibility and be eligible to play immediately.
Second question is, in last week's game with Cyrus Jones and DeMarcus Robinson, with that scuffle, is that going to hurt Cyrus Jones playing into this bowl coming up?
No, because he was not ejected. Had he been ejected, he would have had to sit out the first half of the upcoming game in the college football playoff, but he was not ejected. Both players got unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. Had they received another one in that game, they would have been ejected as well, but he's good to go. Yep. And Chris Black is transferring. I'm glad she mentioned that. Had a, great high school career, was highly recruited here. Played some, had some injuries, but feels like, and I understand what he's thinking. D. Hart did the same thing. Sometimes you can leave and get more playing time somewhere else, and he's only got 1 year left. I think really, early in his career, he had the injury that kind of hurt his career early, and then he had one before the season this year. So I think he would have probably played more this year. Just didn't quite work out. All right, let's go to Birmingham and talk to Billy. Hey, Billy, how are you?
Hey, guys. Good afternoon. Hey, who do you think is going to be leaving on the defense, to go into the pros, and who's going to be replacing some of these guys that are going to be leaving off the like Reggie Ragland and some of the defensive linemen?
All right, Bill. Well, there's a lot of players on this defense that could leave, but there's great players waiting in the wings. I mean, I think A'Shawn Robinson's going to leave. It's my opinion that he will. I think there's a chance Jonathan Allen could. Anybody else pop into your mind that's a junior?
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of speculation, but I think those two first ones that come to mind, certainly. I don't think Reuben Foster will. I know some people have mentioned that. And I think he'll be the bell cow like Ragland has been. I think, next year's really Reuben's big year. And I do think you're right. I do think there's a chance that Jonathan Allen, but I don't think he's made that decision. And A'Shawn Robinson, you would certainly think, would probably be the leading candidate to leave early.
And seniors like Reed and Ragland and Cyrus Jones, Bill, all I can tell you is there's great players waiting behind them. They really are. Deshaun
Hand certainly is a guy that's ready to step up. We know that Deron Payne has started some games this year, started the SEC championship game. They've got some young guys like Josh Frazier that I think are going to be outstanding players. So they do have a lot of young talent. Yeah, they're not devoid of talent, that's for sure. All right, Steve, in Trussville, you keep holding. We've got to take a timeout, but we'll be first up when we come back here on TITV. Stay with us. Welcome back to Tider Insider Television. Alongside Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Let's get right back to your phone calls on the Med Center hotline tonight. Our hotline being presented by Med Center. Steve has been holding patiently in Trussville. Hey, Steve, how are you?
Pretty good. How you doing tonight, guys?
Very well, thanks.
First off, I just want to let you know I enjoy the show. Y'all do a great job. I'm kind of worried about this Heisman Trophy vote for Henry Saturday night. I sense a lot of media bias towards Alabama in particular. The national media just seems every chance they get to take shots against Bama, and particularly Coach Saban. And do you think that would translate into them voting for McCaffrey instead of Derrick Henry?
Well, Steve, it shouldn't. It's not supposed to. I mean, they're supposed to look at the players and their accomplishments. But you know what? To some degree, I agree with you. I do think there's some Alabama pushback out there for whatever reason, just my opinion. Again, I'm not a Heisman voter, but I've seen the criteria and how it's laid out. I got friends that do vote for the Heisman Trophy. It shouldn't, but I can't tell you with 100% confidence that it won't.
Well, I would agree with that, but I do think, too, I think he's going to win the Heisman.
Oh, I do, too. I've said it for the record.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
But I think there may be some that push him down on a ballot because they don't want to see an Alabama running back winning.
There are some. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I think there are some that have allegiances to other conferences, and I think they vote for those guys in those conferences. Certainly, I do. I think the same thing here. I think the same thing applies in this area of the country, that, you have sports writers who have ballots, and they vote for guys in this area. But But I do think he wins it, Steve.
All right, thank you, Steve. Let's go to Millport and talk to Robert. Welcome into the program, Robert.
Hey, Gary and Rodney.
Hey, buddy.
Enjoy your show, and kudos to Steve from Trussville. I kind of agree with him that there's seems to be a lot of media bias. Also, just coffee shop talk and rumor. You heard anything about Fournette transferring from LSU?
All right, Robert, I can't imagine under any circumstance that he would transfer, and let me tell you why. He'd have to sit out somewhere because there's no way that LSU is going to give him a release. First of all, he runs the ball a ton. He may not be happy with the quarterback situation, but why would you transfer and sit out a year? He wants to play one more year and go to the NFL. Robert, that's the bottom line.
His next stop is the NFL. Yeah. There's no doubt about that, and I don't even know where the speculation is he's going to transfer, but it's not going to happen.
I can't imagine under any circumstances, Robert, that he would transfer. Let's go to Anniston and talk with our buddy Harold. Harold, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Very well.
Want to say congratulations to Kirby Smart, man, on his new job. And I wanted to ask Rodney. He's going to Georgia. Do you think he'll have any effect on any of our recruits coming in wanting to follow him to Georgia?
Are you talking about some of the ones that are already committed, Harold?
Uh-huh.
I really don't think so. I mean, not of the group that are currently committed. I wouldn't think so. I don't know. A lot of times in these situations, the coaches have an agreement. Listen, if they're already committed to the school you're leaving, we're not going to recruit those guys. And that wouldn't surprise me if Kirby, respected that. And so I really don't think any of the guys that are currently committed to Alabama will flip to Georgia.
I'm with you. And I think, and you're talking about agreements between coaches. Let's be clear on this. I think Kirby Smart and Nick Saban are so tight. I think they'll discuss all of this: recruiting, what coaches might leave. I mean, these two guys respect and admire each other, and this is a very, very amicable situation between the two. Not that there won't be a recruit that says, hey, I want to go with Kirby. That could happen, whether Alabama wants him to or not, but I don't think Kirby's going to try to steal any recruits from the University of Alabama. All right, let's take an email, Rod, and you kind of alluded to this earlier. Bill in Northport wants to know, why was Jaron Reed not named All-SEC? It's a great question. No offense to Ashawn Robinson or Jonathan Allen, but for my money, Jaron Reed has been the most dominant, consistent defensive lineman, not just on Alabama's team, but in the Southeastern Conference this year. I'll tell you why. Even amongst coaches, certainly among media, I don't know that he has the name recognition.
Well, for whatever reason, he was omitted. And, you know, back in the preseason, we talked about how he was omitted from some of those teams, and I was really surprised heading into the season. Just, I don't want to say he didn't get his due respect, but, you know, he's a great player, and I guarantee you what, I know Alabama's glad to have him.
Yeah, and he won't be omitted when the NFL draft comes up. He's going to be a first-round draft pick, in my opinion. Was already slated to be a second-rounder last year, came back. I think it'll work out for him. I think he goes in the first round. All those guys are terrific football players, but, yeah, not even second-team SEC.
That's hard to believe. Man.
All right, when we come back, we are going to put a bow on this version of Tighter Insider TV. You stick around. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this. And welcome back to Tighter Insider Television. Really appreciate those phone calls. Good calls tonight, Rodney. Also want to mention USA Today announced its All-America team today. 4 Crimson Tide players honored: Derrick Henry, Reggie Ragland, and Ryan Kelly, first team; Ashawn Robinson, second team. Wow. All-stars every year for Alabama. As you'll notice, our beautiful dress shirts, the original elephant wear shirts we're wearing tonight, courtesy of the Locker Room, located on the University Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. You can shop inside their beautiful store or online. Alex and Rush and the crew there will fix you up with original elephant wear or any of their other fine men's products. And they have a ladies' line as well at the Locker Room. That's going to do it for the program. If you missed the show, you can catch a replay tonight at 10:30 or on our website, WVUA23.com. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody. Have a great night.